President Trump called out the NFL player Marshawn Lynch of the Oakland Raiders, who stood for the Mexican anthem but sat for the American national anthem. And the president said, very disrespectful. Next time, he should be suspended for the remainder of the season. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with it at all.
And why not?
I don't think that Trump should be deciding what an employer does with an employee that's not under his watch, that's not under his leadership. Trump should, if he wants to suspend people within the White House, that's fine. But why should he have a say in what another company does?
Well,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we pay for the stadiums with our tax dollars, and the president pays taxes, so he has a right to comment on it. Just as Barack Obama, the fallen messiah, whom I didn't agree with anything about, supported the far-left liberal radical agitating group Black Lives Matter, who worked in the KKK. So you have to agree that the president, as a taxpayer, has a right to comment on it. Isn't that true?
To comment on it?
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of time, frankly.
But he does
it's a waste of time.
But he does have a right to comment.
Well, what you have a right to do and what you should do, what makes sense to do, are two different things, don't you think?
Does he have a right to comment as a taxpayer?
He has the right to comment as a human being, but doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. I don't think it is.
But he does have a right as a taxpayer to comment, right?
He has a right as a person who has a voice. Freedom of speech is very important. You use it, I use it. He has a right to say whatever he'd like to say. Do I think it was prudent? No. Do I think it will make a difference? No. And I think he should spend his time commenting on issues that matter. Talk to us about North Korea. Talk to us about, those jobs that he's supposedly returning to this country, the trade agreements he's supposed to be reversing, the leverage he's supposed to be giving us with China. Talk to us about that stuff. I don't need you talking to me about what you think about a player on a football team, he does.
He has a right as a taxpayer. And matter of fact, because he's spoken up about it, he said throw those SOBs out when Colin Kaepernick and the rest of the thugs decided that they're going to turn the NFL players.
You called them thugs? Did you call them thugs, Jesse?
I did.
Are you trying to trigger me?
No, I've been calling them thug before I spoke to you. I think
but I'm saying you're saying it to me to trigger me or something. What we do?
No, I'm not. Okay. I'm just speaking the truth about the issue, in that it does matter that the president spoke up because it's a disgrace.
I don't think Donald Trump ever called them thugs. So that's your interpretation of them.
Right. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that those NFL players, black players, who would not be even heard of had not have been for football and the ability to play in this country and make buku money, would turn their backs on the flag, on the country, on the men and women who died in the military and sacrificed their lives so that they can play, on the fans and on their bosses. And so
you think some military people sacrificed their lives so people could play football?
They did.
Is that what you think, Jesse? You really think that?
They have the freedom. They're protected so that they can play football. As a black man,
no, so they can pursue. I disagree, Jesse.
And why?
I disagree.
Why?
I don't think anyone in the military puts themselves in harm's way. Seems comrades lose their life for someone to pursue football. I think they do it so you can pursue freedom. But that's a whole different thing. So they can do whatever you want to do in your pursuit of that freedom. That's part of being an American, Jesse. I thought you were an American.
But if they didn't have the freedom, would they be able to play football safely?
No, but
if it wasn't for the military?
Part of being free is to be able to make your own choices. And if your choice is, this is how you want to exercise your rights, just like you said, Trump had a right to speak up and call Marshawn Lynch, say Marshawn Lynch should be suspended. Well, don't be a hypocrite, Jesse, and say that these people don't have a right to stand or not stand or whatever.
Well, they don't have a right to kneel on a phony charge of police brutality, which doesn't exist. And
that's not going to trigger me, Jesse.
They don't have a right. They don't have a right to kneel at work. They can do it in the hood, but not at work.
They have an absolute right, Jesse. Just like you said, Trump has a right.
Does it bother you as a Black American that
what bothers me is what? A Black American, don't frame it that way.
That the NFL
I'm a person. I'm a human being.
That the
Black man. I'm a black man, sir.
That the NFL black players are destroying football. The number of people who are watching the games are going down. The number who are attending are going down. And blacks have been so destructive in America that their only purpose now is to destroy and not build. Are you embarrassed or bothered by that at all?
I'm bothered by the way you just framed that question.
And what do you mean?
The way you just framed that question was deplorable, sir.
In what way?
It was racist.
It was racist?
Jesse, you're a racist, sir. I'm sorry, sir, you're a racist.
Racism doesn't exist, but we'll get back to that. Let me ask.
You have something going on here, sir. This is the way you're framing everything as a black people thing. I don't understand that.
Can you point out in the last 60 years where majority of black voted and supported good, decent politicians, or stood up and rebuilt or created areas predominantly by blacks, or done anything good?
Why's everything black, Jesse?
No, can you name anything good that majority of blacks have done within the last 60 years?
I can't name anything good majority of anybody done in the last 60 years. This country is slipping, brother.
How about blacks?
How about, why is everything blacks? Can we have a conversation?
Because you're black, I'm black, and there are black problems happening.
Just because we have the same color doesn't mean we have the same politics.
That's for sure. But can you name an area where a majority of blacks have succeeded and it's good?
God. The majority of blacks have succeeded.
And it's good.
I don't look at the world through what blacks are succeeding in and what whites are succeeding in. I think they're going to be successful people in different walks of life. There are engineers, there are scientists, there are developers, there are football players, there are people with radio shows. I'm succeeding. Are you succeeding, Jesse?
So you can't name where a majority of blacks stood for good and created communities and voted for decent people. Majority of blacks voted for Barack Obama twice, knowing that he is a far left liberal socialist, black liberation theologist.
Well, who would they vote? Who would
same sex abortion supporter? Just the worst of the worst.
McCain was not a good choice.
They didn't have to vote.
Oh, okay.
Not like you have to vote. I want to ask you about this. In Washington, D.C., they are complaining about the monuments and the statues. They are saying, take them down, remove the statues. We are offended by it. It reminds us of slavery. The blacks are.
You're not happy with slavery, are you?
And
you don't think that was a great institution, do you?
I think that slavery within itself wasn't good in that it forced people to be a part of it. But
wasn't good?
Right. But
that's the strongest word you can use.
But
Jesse, is it wasn't good?
But
it was the stripping of humanity, Jesse.
But
it's the worst. Next to death, there's nothing. Next to genocide, there's nothing worse. And some would argue that it's worse than genocide because at least with genocide, you're over with. Like, come on, Jesse. It was bad. That's the worst. You use much stronger language to describe Democrats.
But it allowed you and me and other blacks to be born in the greatest country on this side of heaven. We didn't have to sneak across the borders. We didn't have to fill out an application. And so as a result of that, I'm loving my country. I'm loving what's right. I'm doing right to show my appreciation for those blacks who suffered that I might be here. Do you agree with that? That sounds good, right?
Nah, that doesn't sound good, Jesse. If someone raped your mom and you were the product of a rape, we're still not happy your mom got raped, Jesse.
But my mother didn't get raped, and no one in my family got raped, and no one in my...
Well, you don't know. Well, you're a slave, brother.
Would you rather be born...
Slaves. Would you rather slaves, brother?
Would you rather be born...
My point. Thank you, Jesse.
Would you rather...
I knew that you were... Yeah, go ahead.
Would you rather be born in Africa or America?
It depends on which side of the if I'm a rich African, am I African well off? Because there are some rich Africans, Jesse.
And which would you rather be born, in America or Africa? Mommy, Africa.
If I have the most opportunity and able to raise a family.
And where's that?
I've only been American, so I'm happy to be who I am. I'm happy to be an American. That's the only life I know.
So the point...
If I had a choice, if I could be a well-off and opulent, very successful, born into a rich family in Africa, that'd be great too.
Let me ask. I want to ask about the reason I brought up the statues in Washington, D.C.
Because you wanted to trigger me, Jesse.
Right now in Washington, D.C., the city council wants to put up a statue of the late former mayor of Marion Barry, who was twice convicted, I believe twice, convicted of crack cocaine. He was a crackhead.
Crack.
And he went in prison. He went to prison.
Marijuana. He went. That sounds worse than cocaine.
He went to prison for he was caught smoking crack with another woman, not his wife, in the 90s. And yet the blacks re-elected him and as city council. Why would black people want to walk down the road and see a crackhead statue representing them?
Crackhead statue. Wow. You know what? I think that Marion Barry has a very interesting past. And a lot of people look at what he did for black businesses within D.C. I think he transformed black businesses. He mandated that 30% of government contracts, local D.C. contracts, be awarded to African Americans. That was unheard of, and still is unheard of to this day.
So I want to know.
He helped a lot of communities.
So you don't
yeah.
have any problem with taking down the statues and the monuments and replacing them with a black convicted crackhead.
No, I think all monuments. I think all monuments
you
are
said
a waste
no.
of time. I think all monuments are a waste of time, Jesse.
Can you imagine walking down the road there in Washington, D.C., your children are with you, and your son says, "Daddy, who is that black man on the statue?" And you say, "That's a crackhead. That's Marion Barry. He was a crack."
Jesse, where's your compassion, my brother? Where's your compassion?
The compassion is, I'm embarrassed for black people that they have no shame. Not all, but most.
Drug addiction is a sickness, my brother.
That doesn't mean they have to vote him in as mayor and city council.
You said crackhead several times as if a person with a sickness, a condition, they should be treated. That's something that needs to be treated. Now we know he's passed away. Why do you keep referring to him in such a derogatory way, bro?
Because the man was a convicted crackhead, and now the blacks in D.C. are fighting to put up a statue of him. What is that to be proud about? How are you going to tell your children, look, Marion Barry succeeded as a crackhead?
Well, hold on a second. We're talking about, you juxtapose Marion Barry, a man who held position that was elected by the people, and next to Confederate soldiers who wanted to secede from the United States, who fought against this country. You really want to have that argument, Jesse?
But yet,
people who fought against the country are more deserving of a statue than a man who was elected by the people in this country. I think the people by this country should. I think Marion Barry is a better representation, frankly.
A crackhead. At least those no.
Like I said, I look at drug abuse as a sickness, brother. I look at drug abuse as a sickness.
Those men who were fighting back then, drug abuse is not a sickness.
You said drug user, not not drug seller,
Listen,
not drug dealer.
at least the
user.
Confederate men were decent men. A crackhead is not a decent man. And why would blacks want that?
Right now, that makes me a drug user.
Why
Jesse,
would blacks want that as their example? Baba, go to God. Thanks for calling. You're on with Tim Black.
Morning, Jesse. Thank you for taking my call. Good morning, Jim Black.
It's
I have
Tim.
a question for you. How do you feel about the whole world knowing and witnessing the only athletes on the planet who have ever turned their back on their country's national anthem and flag are black athletes in America? No, and there's been plenty of countries around the world with worse problems than ours. You don't see their athletes turning their back on their own national anthem in their Olympics, in international events, and even in their own national events. You just don't see it. You haven't seen it in 100 years. Black people have the distinction of starting it and continuing it, their traitorous attitudes toward their own country.
Let's get a response. Go ahead, Tim.
Wow. Well, first of all, sir, I think that you bring up a very good point. And I think this is what makes America very special. I think America is one of the greatest, if not the greatest country in the world because of what you just described. Our free speech gives us that right. And I think that's an amazing thing. This is what soldiers fought for free speech, for freedom. And freedom, part of freedom, is sometimes you're not going to like how people exercise that freedom. Part of the way people exercise their freedom.
Tim, what you're missing is that blacks are destroying.
Free, sir.
They are destroying and not building up. They don't have the freedom to destroy good in this country. Why not encourage them to do right, to set good examples as they did prior to the civil rights movement?
Why not? Why not encourage police officers?
Oh, Jesus.
Why not encourage police officers?
Oh, Jesus.
Why not encourage our judicial system to do a better job of policing and of more equal incarceration? Why not do a better job on that side?
You're justifying, first of all, that's not true, but you justify a bad behavior to justify the blacks' bad behavior. That's a shame, man.